Hey guys, it's Mrs. Shannon, and I'm here to work on the the assignment that we did in class today. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any of my software to draw on the graphs with, so what I'm going to have to do is sort of go between a graph and some notes to help you out. Now, if you were in class yesterday, that would have been Wednesday, March 4th, you would have been here and you would have met up in groups, and you would have taken account of how many members in your group share certain traits or characteristics. We're starting our genetics unit, so we're kind of exploring a little bit about what a trait is. What we did then is you completed columns B and C based on graph data. Notice because I'm going back and I can't draw directly on it, it's going to be hard for me to do it, and my files are at school. So I actually might end up redoing this screencast tomorrow. So if you're still confused, check back tomorrow afternoon and it should be updated. But you're going to complete columns B and C, and we did this in class on Wednesday based on not graph data, group data. Whoopsie, don't want to actually go here. Column B was actual number of members in your group with the trait. I'm going to hit enter again. I'm using a different program, and if it takes me up, okay, no. Column C equaled the percentage of members in your group with the trait. Now, what that means is, example, if you have 2 out of 3 members in your group with a cleft chin, you would take 2, before the 2 members that have it, you're going to divide it by 3, which is the total members that you had in your group. So 2, the members that showed what you're looking for, divided by the total members in your group. When you get that answer, it would be 0.67 or 0.66666667. We don't like decimals when we're talking about percentages. To get rid of that decimal, we then multiply by 100, and it gives us 66.7%. And we did this in class together on Wednesday. On Thursday, we finished class percentages. So we ended up totaling up how many students in each characteristic for the entire class. We gathered the data on Wednesday, we totaled them on Thursday. And then we went through and we did for column D, we did the exact same formula. But only now we took the number of students in the class divided with the trait, divided by the number of students total in the class. We multiplied it by 100 to get rid of that decimal. For example, if 10 students had freckles and there were 20 students in the class, it would be 10 divided by 20, which is 0.5, times it by 100 will give us 50%. Everybody that was in class should have the totals, and you can go through and just do that. On the back side, you are asked to graph. You will need a piece of graph paper. I supplied some in class, but if you have any other graph paper, that's fine. Here's an example of the graph paper we have, and I'm going to use my cursor to show you what I'm doing, and I'll come back to the notes too. So in your instructions on the back side, it says that we're going to draw a graph of percentage of students that show the trait. We're going to start with just your group. Now, it tells you that the x-axis is the independent variable. Remember, that's on the bottom, is going to be your traits. So traits will go on the bottom, and you will need to label it. You will need to label this side here, percentage of students with the trait. So X equals trait, and that's the horizontal at the bottom. And it's also called the independent variable. The Y equals percentage students with trait, which is the vertical axis. The Y is vertical, and you should know that from either previous science classes or our class or math class. And it is dependent variable. First step is to do that. Next step, it says remember to make a title. For a title, always include information on both axes, or always include information from both your independent variable and your dependent variable. So I want you to think about an example. This one should be easy. It's pretty similar to what you already have on your Y1. Do not just label it traits. Do not just label it science title, science graph, because that doesn't explain what the data is about. You want to explain the data. When you're done, you're ready to set up the rest of your graph, and you're ready to put in your values. Now, the y-axis is percentage of students, so you should know that the lowest percentage you have will be 0%. The highest that we're going to have is, if all students show it, 100%. So you're going to have to figure out how to divide evenly the boxes to go from 0 to 100. You want to use as much space as possible. Use as much space, 0 to 100. Use as much space of the graph as possible, but you want each box to be the same amount. So if you start off by calling this box 10, that means this will have to be another 10 to give you 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. You're not using most of the graph. You have a lot of graph left. It means it's going to be a crowded graph. Okay, so you're going to have to maybe devise something else. On the x-axis now, it's going to be a little different. Most of the time, I said like 95% of the time in science, you're going to use line graphs, or what's called scatter plots with points. There are a few exceptions, and this is one of them. If you have a graph where you're going to be using characteristics instead of numbers, and that's what we're using for the traits down here, we're using characteristics, then what we do is we can do a bar graph, and that's what you're going to do. So you're going to do each characteristic, and on your instructions, it says number 2, you're going to do your group, and number 3, you're going to do the class. So my suggestion is you do them next to each other. You would label this, for example, I can't write on this, dimpled. I think it was, detached ears, right? Detached ears. So the very first one you're going to do, and I'd say either do 1 box or 2 boxes, no more than that because you won't have room. You're going to fill all the way up to whatever your group percentage was, and that is column C. The next one you're going to do is your class percentage, which was column D. Now, you need to make sure, this is important because we're graphing 2 different types of data, the group and the class, that you have some sort of distinction between them when you're looking at them. You can either shade in one and leave the other blank, or you can color them different colors. You will need to make a key up here. You can do it under your title, which the title should go at the top. You can write the title right on the boxes. It's fine. Since yours, if you get mine from school, it won't have the top. And you're going to write, if you're using shaded for group, you're going to make a little shaded box, and you're going to say it equals group. If you're doing blank one, and it is class. If you abbreviate any of the traits, you're going to have to include another legend over here with what the abbreviations are for. If you say DE is for detached ears, you're going to graph it over here. Once you have that set up, it should be easy schmeezy to get all your bars done. And then you're going to answer the 3 questions on the bottom of the half sheet for what you see when you notice the trends. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this